The image of Jesus is ubiquitous. He is a figure instantly recognizable in art, literature, and particularly film. For over a century, cinema has played a pivotal role in shaping our collective understanding of Jesus. Yet, the Jesus we often see depicted on screen is far removed from the historical reality. This essay delves into the portrayal of Jesus in film, exploring how Eurocentric biases have influenced these representations and why challenging these depictions is crucial. From the earliest days of cinema, a particular image of Jesus took hold, a fair-skinned, blue-eyed figure with long flowing hair. This image, deeply ingrained in the Western consciousness, has been replicated countless times, becoming the default representation of Jesus for millions worldwide. However, this portrayal is not a product of historical accuracy, but rather a reflection of cultural biases and artistic liberties taken over the decades. The roots of this misrepresentation can be traced back to the dawn of cinema. In 1912, the silent film presented one of the first cinematic portrayals of Jesus. The actor R. Henderson Bland embodied the stereotypical image of Jesus that would become standard, a white man with European features. This casting choice, made at a time when Hollywood was in its infancy and racial prejudices were deeply entrenched, set a precedent that would have lasting consequences. This early portrayal of Jesus was not an isolated incident. It reflected a broader trend in Western art and iconography that had been developing for centuries. Renaissance paintings, for instance, often depicted biblical figures with European features, regardless of their geographical origins. This Eurocentric lens, fueled by colonialism and a sense of cultural superiority, inevitably found its way into early cinema. As cinema entered the mid-20th century, the portrayal of Jesus remained largely unchanged. Films like 1952, released during a period when black actors were gradually gaining recognition in Hollywood, still cast a white actor in the lead role. This casting choice perpetuated the image of Jesus as a white savior, a narrative that aligned with the prevailing social and racial dynamics of the time. This era saw the rise of biblical epics, grand-scale productions that often reinforced traditional depictions of Jesus. These films, while visually stunning, rarely challenged the established image of Jesus as a white man. The casting of white actors in these prominent roles served to further solidify the Eurocentric representation of Jesus in the minds of audiences. The latter part of the 20th century and the early 21st century witnessed a continuation of these trends. Films like 1977, 1979, and 2003 all featured white actors portraying Jesus. Even Mel Gibson's controversial 2004, while praised for its historical accuracy in some aspects, did not deviate from the traditional casting of Jesus. The casting of Jim Caviezel, a white actor, highlights the pervasiveness of this representation. The film's immense popularity further cemented the image of a white Jesus in the public consciousness. This casting choice, while perhaps not intentionally malicious, served to reinforce a historically inaccurate and culturally insensitive portrayal. Section 5. A Glimmer of Change. Attempts at reclaiming authenticity. Despite the dominance of traditional depictions, there have been attempts to present alternative, potentially more accurate portrayals of Jesus. Some filmmakers have cast actors of Middle Eastern descent, aiming for a more historically and culturally sensitive representation. Others have taken creative liberties, imagining Jesus as a black man or presenting him in a contemporary setting to challenge traditional views. However, these attempts often face an uphill battle. They often struggle to gain widespread recognition or are met with resistance from audiences accustomed to the traditional image of Jesus. The challenge lies in breaking free from deeply ingrained perceptions and fostering a greater acceptance of diverse representations. Section 6. The birthplace and date debate. Adding to the historical fog. Adding to the complexity of accurately portraying Jesus is the ongoing debate surrounding his birth date and birthplace. While the traditional narrative places his birth in Bethlehem around the year 0 AD, scholars have long questioned these details. Some argue for a birth date between 4 and 6 BC, based on historical records and astronomical calculations. The exact location of Jesus' birth is also a subject of debate. While Bethlehem holds religious significance, some scholars suggest alternative locations based on historical and geographical evidence. This lack of definitive historical consensus further complicates the task of depicting Jesus accurately, leaving room for interpretation and artistic license. Section 7. Beyond Eurocentrism. Embracing diversity in depiction. Challenging the Eurocentric portrayal of Jesus is not merely an exercise in historical accuracy, it is a matter of cultural sensitivity and representation. Depicting Jesus as a white man ignores the rich tapestry of Middle Eastern cultures and reinforces a colonial perspective that positions Europe as the center of the world. Embracing diversity in the depiction of Jesus allows for a more nuanced and inclusive understanding of his story. It acknowledges the multicultural context in which he lived and challenges the notion that whiteness is synonymous with divinity. By moving beyond Eurocentric representation, we can begin to reclaim the universality of Jesus' message. Section 8. The power of representation. Why challenging the image matters. Representation matters. The images we see on screen have the power to shape our perceptions and influence our understanding of the world. When a single inaccurate image of Jesus dominates popular culture, it perpetuates harmful stereotypes and limits our ability to fully engage with his story. Challenging the traditional image of Jesus is not about erasing history or disrespecting religious beliefs. It is about engaging in a critical dialogue about representation, inclusivity, and the power of visual media. By questioning the images we have come to accept as truth, we can begin to tell a more complete and accurate story. Section 9. Conclusion. Towards a more nuanced understanding. The portrayal of Jesus in film has been marked by a long history of Eurocentric biases. From early cinema to modern blockbusters, the image of Jesus as a white man has dominated the screen, shaping our collective understanding of this pivotal historical figure. However, challenging this traditional representation is crucial for fostering a more accurate, inclusive, and nuanced understanding of Jesus. By acknowledging the historical inaccuracies, embracing diversity in depiction, and engaging in critical dialogue, we can move beyond simplistic representations and embrace the richness and complexity of Jesus' story. It is time for filmmakers, artists, and audiences alike to question the images we have come to accept as truth and to embrace a more authentic and inclusive portrayal of Jesus. Thank you for listening. Please give a thumbs up and subscribe.